Okay, got it. So, I gotta breathe in and get myself settled.
Breathe
Hang
in,
on.
breathe out.
Language.
Language.
Quiet on the set. Makeup.
My makeup's always good.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
After two more chews,
Do your thing.
one swallow, and then,
Chew it up.
yes.
You got cream cheese on that bagel, or are you just going dry?
Of course, man. If I had salmon lox, it would just be that.
Oof, that sounds delicious.
Well, it really does, but that's all I have right now. So. Okay, I'm good.
All right, here we go. Oh, let me get my... Oh, okay. Hey, welcome to I Want to Be Your Canary. My name is Cullen, and this is my dear friend Scooter.
What's happening?
We're dropping in here just a little off-the-cuff show, just talking a little bit about Final Fantasy and growing up with it. We're both around our 30s now, so it's fun to reflect back on some of the ways that Final Fantasy affected us growing up. I know I certainly have quite a few embarrassing
story? Yeah,
embarrassing
I think that's the right word.
stories.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's it too. But yeah, just kind of wanted to talk about that today. Kind of go through that memory lane. Do you got any? Is this? Do you got some good embarrassing ones? You got some things you look back on, you go, oh man.
I mean, I think I've told the story of dragging some of my family members up to see the introduction of number 8 as a kid, and looking back on that, it's probably like, in their shoes, I'm sure they were going, "What in the heck is this kid gonna turn into?" Like, his future must be, anyway. Which they're not too far off, but it's that, and gosh, I'm sure there were playground days where you were trying to. I think you even told stories of recruiting friends for
Recruiting, yeah,
missions
coercing,
or something. Yeah.
Call it what you will. Yeah, that one I didn't even really think about. So, which I have already talked about that one, but I'd sure be happy to press through that one again for sure. So, yeah, like I said, we're going to just take a little off the cuff and just having kind of just a conversation about the way that Final Fantasy affected us growing up. And we're missing Ross tonight, in part because we're able to do these podcasts now with being so far away. For those who don't know, our dear friend Ross is working very hard to get his master's degree right now. Soon he will. I think he graduates. Doesn't he graduate in the spring?
Yeah, coming up, I believe June should be.
Yeah, he's doing
if he paid all his bills and got all his A's.
Yeah. Which he's a well-rounded fellow. So it'll be
Straight A
another
student. I have no doubt.
Another Seattle University graduate in our midst. Not that I'm one, but you, him, my wife. So yeah, it'll be cool.
3 of us.
Yeah, right. 3 out of 4,
Right,
not bad. So he'll be back with us soon, and he'll have some stories, and we'll retouch on this, I'm sure, at some point. But I feel like I just have just so many times when I look back and I think, boy, I really thought I was cool. and I thought that liking Final Fantasy and internalizing it made me cool as well.
And I think I told you this earlier today, Colin, is that I still feel that way. So you say what you will, all right?
Well, see, there is a part of me that still makes me think I feel cool because I like Final Fantasy. But I mean, at least I've calmed it down a little bit, where I used to think that me liking Final Fantasy will impress people.
Especially the girls.
Especially the ladies, absolutely. Which I'll take this moment to say that there was nothing about my marriage or my engagement or anything remotely close to any of that with my wife where Final Fantasy was ever a tipping point, an influencer, or anything like that.
You say that, but, well, was it?
Absolutely not. Nope.
You didn't show her a copy of your official number 9 sign, or anything like that as a, will you go out with me? You see this in the back of my car here?
No, see, those are the things that at that point I probably figured this would probably be better to, I'll break this out at some point, but probably not in the first couple years.
Gotcha. That's
of us. Move. Yeah. So, but there were certainly a lot of times in life where I go, man, this will make me cool. And I remember one of those. It was just a goofy thing. I remember playing 7, and Reno, one of the Turks, he had that electric rod that he would carry around and beat you with. And I remember one time being in the garage, and my dad, he must have one of his golf clubs, it may have been like a 5-iron or a 7-iron, lost the head of a club. And so all of a sudden, I got this weapon that looks exactly like the weapon that Reno has in 7. I just thought to myself, holy smokes, I could be a Turk.
Game on.
I'm
joining them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Sign me up.
I'm hopping in that helicopter.
So I remember just things like that.
Did you paint it black too?
I did not paint it black. I think I walked around with it for a little bit, and that was about the extent of it. I'm sure some people were just like, who
the heck?
What is wrong with that kid? Why is he carrying around a golf club without a head on it? So
I mean, if you had sunglasses on, they could have thought you were just another blind kid. But
and yeah, well,
yeah. I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think if I had any of those, like recreations of the weapons and stuff in the games.
I'm really excited to find out that this podcast is me having a bunch of really nerdy moments and you just being like, yeah, I showed a couple of people, but no big deal.
Yeah, hey, it could turn into that. I don't know. Let's see where this goes. You gotta keep asking me questions here. I mean, I can't remember making any of them.
Okay, well, I'll give you another. So, this is one isn't as nerdy as it was just influential. I remember I've always kind of been into writing. I've always really enjoyed telling a story, and when I was like in, I don't know, fifth grade, I started this story with my friend Matt. And it was like him and I in it. And it was like us as these adventurers. And I remember it started in a haunted house. And I had a computer at home. And I remember I typed like 80 pages to this story. Now,
jeez.
Yeah.
Do you still have that?
No, I don't. I don't remember what happened to it.
I'm sure it just got lost to time.
Yeah. And It was my Final Fantasy story, really. I ripped so much from 7. I mean, just exact scenes. And I just thought, oh, man, I am a writer. I am like one of those creative.
One of those Michael Scott, plays that he writes, that James Bond
Michael
movie. Yeah.
Oh, it might as well have been.
I mean, hey, geez, 80 pages though. That's a long story for anybody. That's some invested time.
It was. I loved nothing more. I remember I would go home Friday night, Saturday night after the family did whatever, and I just remember I could not wait to go home, get on the computer, put on the Blink-182 Dude Ranch album, which that actually does make me cool right there.
There you go.
And I would just type away, and I would stay up for hours just typing the story, and I used materia. I remember I used the rune blade. I used other very specific things from 7 and from the Final Fantasy series. I remember that we got blasted into another world, and it was because of the battle that happened on that escalator in the Shinra Tower.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I ganked so much from Final Fantasy VII, and then I kind of realized...
You were strongly influenced, let's just say.
Yeah, well, we'll go with that. And and then I remember saying, "Oh boy, well, if this ever wants to get published, I have to change all this." So that's when I learned about find and replace on Microsoft
Control
Word.
F, your friend.
And so I went through and I changed. I remember I changed materia to marble magic. I changed everything. I even had a glossary at the end for everybody who didn't understand the things that I did.
I really wish you still had this.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would be a lot of fun to just, see what story came out of it. But, I mean...
Would have been a doozy, Scooter. A real doozy.
Hey, we could put it up on Amazon Kindle web store, and, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Who knows what? I'll see if I can find it. But man, I mean, it was the last time I saw it was. I think somehow I may have seen it in high school, but I think I may have been so mortified by it and had the realization of what it was that I may have just trashed it, which is a shame because I did put a lot of time into it.
That's high school for you, though, right? Gotta become a new
Nobody
person
can see
or
this.
whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess for embarrassing ones, I do have a memory. Or actually, my sister, I went down and visited her recently, and we were just reminiscing about stories and stuff. And one Final Fantasy thing did come up when we were talking. Funny enough, and it was I forget the subject how it came up, but how we used to kind of peeve each other as kids, as siblings, I guess, and. One of the things that I remember kind of getting mad at my sister for was if she was watching me play, like, one of these Final Fantasies, and it was a tense boss battle or something, right? And, the tensions are high, and my hands are sweating on the controller, and I've got my last high potion, and I'm, tossing it, and it doesn't work, and the party gets wiped, and the game over screen comes on. And, I would say, like, Allie, you're breathing too loudly. Get out of the room, or something like that, just something totally benign, or, it's just one of those things. And she remembers that happening a few times, and I totally do too. And I feel really bad about it now. But, what are you going to do when those moments are so hard in those games as a kid? It's hours invested, and you only have a few hours after class each night to try and beat the boss. So,
yep.
That was a funny story that she brought up the other day.
It's funny, just some people don't understand like the Final Fantasy and the way that the nomenclature and the things that we say. I remember one time being at my stepmom's mother's house, my grandma house, and I remember, you would tell somebody, "Don't play my game," but that didn't mean. Right. That didn't mean don't play Final Fantasy. That just meant don't play on my file.
Don't save over my game file.
And I remember one time saying, that we were going upstairs or something. Somebody's like, I was going to play, one of my stepbrothers, I'm going to play this. I said, don't play my game. And my grandma, she just thought at that moment that I was probably just the most selfish.
Being selfish, right?
Being selfish. Don't play my game. When realistically, it was just, no. Just don't play over my file. But that actually makes me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, but I have a similar story of on the other side of that where my sister's friend played my file, right? And had saved over and used everything. My inventory was gone. And as a kid, I just remember, I was pretty young, and I was just like, oh, man, that's gut-wrenching right there.
You just put your hands in your head in your hands and just sob.
Well, that's before you realize you should save 2 files, throughout the game. Because your little memory card on that old PlayStation, if you only have one of them, man, you've got Ridge Racer, you've got Castlevania, you've got everything else. Geez, so many games, but not enough slots to save stuff. So you got to pick and choose, right? So yeah, that was a hard lesson.
That was a tough pill to swallow.
As a kid, made me stronger, built character.
Well, that's what we're out here to do.
That's what these games are for.
Absolutely. You were talking earlier about bringing people up to show them, like, hey, come in here and take a look at the opening credits.
Check out this. These graphics, this scene, the music. Yeah, this is a video game.
Oh, and I did this. I remember doing the same thing. I remember bringing my stepmom in to make her watch the final cutscene from Final Fantasy VII, which that thing took forever. Actually, I think I made her watch me fight Sephiroth. And
that's like a half an hour or more, easy.
And I'm just thinking to myself, she has no idea what she's about to see. She's about to get her entire world
blown.
Rocked.
And she is probably just daydreaming about other things, just entertaining her kid.
I can't imagine how bored she was in that moment.
That's a good parent, though. Now, looking back on stuff like that, you got to think, like, were they really watching it, or were they just there to support, support the kid?
Yeah. They were there to support. That was...
Maybe her mind was blown that night.
Perhaps. She did not wear it on her face if it was.
Okay, well, they hide it well, I guess.
That's the gift of parenting. But I remember having my stepmom come in and watch that, and I remember multiple times just having people, come in and watch this scene, isn't that cool? Isn't that so cool? And
they're like just blank faced.
Yeah, well, all right, that is something right there.
I mean, but it's hard to compete with action games, especially as you get older and your friends are doing other stuff. And I don't know. I gotta say, okay, on the benefits side, enough of the embarrassing stories. Something that this series did do for me as a young kid, especially, was really taught me how to read a lot. Because I mean, you push through school and you get through your reading lessons and everything. But besides like magazines, books are just kind of a pain in the butt. But the amount of dialogue that you had to read in these pre-voiced ones, it's a lot to get through as a little kid. So that I gotta say, even the rough translations on some of them definitely was an entertaining way to learn how to read a lot better.
And that's a good point. And I think that some of that gets lost with the amount of voice acting that occurs, because I didn't really think about that. Sure. But you talk about that and how much you did have to read, especially to understand the story. And if you weren't understanding the story, you weren't going in the right direction most of the time.
Yep. And especially as a young kid, when you're barely able to read some of it and you try playing the game, you're just lost immediately. So you kind of put it down, come back to it when you do learn how to read fully, play it, but you still don't grasp the whole story. And then you come back when you're older and play them, again, kind of retrospectively as an adult, and you're like, gosh, there's a lot that I missed. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Obviously, you pick up on the faults too, but it's kind of fun.
Speaking of books and Final Fantasy, I remember one time when I was, I don't know if I was in 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, actually, right around there, and we did a family trip to Cortez, Colorado, which is like southwestern to the state that you can get. Like, you're 20 minutes from Four Corners. So if I remember correctly, I remember I don't know if it's 20 minutes from Four Corners. I was really young, but I remember it being like right there.
Right around there, yeah.
And so my mom says, okay, well, you can get a book for the trip down. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. Well, at that time, Final Fantasy Tactics had come out. The play guide, the Prima guide.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice choice. I see this already.
So this is 5th grade. I'm gonna preface this by saying I didn't play Final Fantasy Tactics probably until I was 18. Maybe
Still haven't played all the
16.
way through it.
Maybe 16. So I said the book that I'm going to get is the strategy guide for Final Fantasy Tactics, and I'm like 11 or 12 years old, and I just remember flipping through that thing and having absolutely no idea what I was really looking at other than like these still shots of what was happening and learning about classes, learning about the items and the ability system. And I just, in retrospect, that's just
Did you have any idea?
nerdy.
Like, had you had a strategy guide like that previous to that though, or was this your first purchase of one of those?
I think I had one for 7. And I think
But you just didn't realize the change that Tactics was going to be.
I think
Because it's a different game.
It sure is, and I think I knew it was different. I think I was actually hesitant to play Tactics at that point in my life because it was different. But I saw it up there, and I saw Final Fantasy, and I was so mesmerized. Like, this is it. This is the book. This is the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. So, and that book lasted until I was probably like 22. I gave it to my buddy Jake, and he used it for playing Tactics. And I remember getting that thing back, and it looked like some ancient Sanskrit text that that the original documents of Hinduism was written on, or something like that. It just looked just gnarly and mangled, and it looked like a well-worn
Water
document.
stains and sun bleached and drug through the dirt. Yeah,
the whole kit and caboodle. So
yeah,
stuff like that is just, I look back and I just say, just what a quirky kid I was. Just, what book do you want? I want the strategy guide from the game I've never played. Okay. I'm sure my mom was just like, whatever.
Well, this will keep him busy for a few hours on the road trip down, so get it for him.
My nose was in that thing. Like, it was funny because it was just like a foreign language to me, and what I was looking at, I didn't really know, but I just thought, oh my gosh, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, to judge a book by its cover, that's a good one to judge, because the art in that game, if I'm remembering, it's one of the better cover arts of the bunch.
Yeah.
The styling of it and everything, the very classical stuff. It looks pretty cool.
You remember well, sir, because I would agree with you on that.
And the chocobos, weren't they all mounted on the cover on chocobos or something? As knights, yeah.
Yeah, very, very feudal looking. Mm-hmm. So, I know I told this story before, but I'm just going to talk about it again. I remember I moved districts from 1st to 2nd grade. I was in the Kenmore district, and then I went to Snohomish district. And one of the first days at recess, I was really big on Final Fantasy 2. And I thought that game was about the coolest thing ever, and the characters I was just infatuated with, and it was a whole thing. And I remember at recess, like, getting 3 or 4. It would have been 4 because it was a 5-person party, and getting them together and being like, all right, everybody, we fall in line, everybody, because RPGs. Unless you were one person, unless you were one person, old Dragon Warrior, everybody followed behind you,
right?
On the world map or in towns or whatever. And I remember thinking, all right, you stand here, you're this person, you're here, okay. Now we're gonna go through this door, and through this door there's Dr. Was it Lugay and Barnabas, I think is his name. His monster robot Goliath Frankenstein looking dude. And I was like, and this is how this is going to pan out. We're going to stand in this line together, and every now and again somebody's going to do X, whatever that is. And I mean, can you just imagine a worse recess than just some new kid telling you, like, stand in this line, do this.
We're doing this.
You're doing this. But I thought I thought in my head, to be fair, I thought, man, they're going to have so much fun. They're going to think this is they're going to think this is so cool. They don't even know what they're getting into. It's the same idea that I had when I showed my stepmom the Final Fantasy VII, and just like, man, she doesn't even know
the ending,
how cool this is going to be.
Well, I mean, you're trying to show people the world that these guys and girls and people have created, for us to enjoy, and they are pretty freaking cool. I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. And hey, on that note, I'm trying to dig through my brain of more embarrassing and fun stories of the old. I was gonna say we could let the audience know what else we're doing at this moment, actually, in the background of the computers.
Yes. To jump on that, what are we doing?
We are downloading and updating, as any of you know who have done this or been through this process before, Final Fantasy XI.
There it is. Final Fantasy XI. Secret is out.
So we will see you all on the servers.
Hopefully. I wonder how many people are on that server still.
So the one that we will be joining is going to be the more popular of the North America bunch, Azura. It's the official home for the Reddit group and several other major English-speaking link shells and stuff. So we should be able to find enough people to do all kinds of good stuff. It's still pretty populated. Not like it used to be waiting in line for, certain things, but
I am excited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, it's going to be like reliving high school, which were more embarrassing days for me. So I could tell you about those stories. Jeez.
Yeah, and you know what? As a high school, you'd fit right in. Most of the protagonists and main characters in Final Fantasy, and they're kind of right in that age range. That's
the funny thing.
Which explains a lot of the okay, you are being pretty dramatic in this situation right now. You are a little over the top.
Yep. Well, what else was funny is that was around the time that. Number 10 came out, which was a cool game, and then number 11 came out, and then number 10-2 came out, and that I was just like, and we're going, okay, well, this is good. We got back to being a weird game again,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should do an episode on that and 13 one of these days. The lesser played of the Final Fantasy series, let's say.
Oh man, my buddy from college, Dyson, he is.
Oh right, yes, that's one of his.
That's his.
Favorite
that is his jam. 10-2 is his jam. So we'll have to get him on here, so he can just give us the whole rundown.
Grill us for the bunch.
Yeah.
Yes. Let us know what's up. That'd be good.
Yeah. No. We definitely got to get him on here for that.
We should get some guests going.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'm trying to just conjure up because I know that there's so many stories that I have that I've blocked out over time because
just for
how mortifying.
Well, for surviving's sake, yes, yeah. It's for your own mental health. Yeah, let's be real.
Absolutely,
and mine
absolutely.
too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got to protect ourselves from ourselves.
Something like that. Let me think for just a moment and
conjure up some of those memories. It's funny because I still do have that. I was in class the other day and there's the Final Fantasy trailer that came up, and it didn't come up in class, but I was thinking about it and I thought, man, I should just show these kids. I should just show them what this is all about.
Sure,
and yeah, a couple of kids they know about the podcast and they'll ask me about it. Hey, Mr. Campbell, what's your podcast name again? And, I'll tell them, and I haven't.
No point and laugh.
Yeah, what a nerd. Just beat it, nerds. Actually, I tell them that every now and again, so I'll probably use that on me eventually. But yeah, it's funny because it's even in my 30s when this cool Final Fantasy thing happens. Like, dude, I made my wife watch the trailer. She doesn't care about the Final Fantasy remake trailer. She doesn't care about Final Fantasy. She cares about it because she knows that I like it.
Yeah, but this one is gonna, now that they have full fleshed out voice acting, animation of characters, and the detail is there, the production value is there. This is a AAA game now, it's gonna appeal to a wide audience, I feel like. So not, it's definitely has a target audience of young teenage males, most likely, right? It's a video game, Final Fantasy VII. But that being said, I think you're gonna see the scope kind of grow for the audience, and it probably has to, just to keep the money coming in for them.
Yeah, I don't know that my wife still is going to be part of that scope in which they are going to.
I'm not going to say that. I don't think it's not going to turn non-gamers into gamers, but who knows?
But you know what? If there was a game that would turn non-gamers into gamers, I think that this is the one.
Could be it.
So
could be it.
This could be the one. Yeah, it's funny how geeked I still get about the series, and it's just funny. It's just kind of a part of us now. That.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was about to say I'm racking my brain for other things as growing up. The funny thing is that at school I never really had, I guess, a lot of friends that played these kind of games, or maybe a few, but not that we really talked about. Mm-hmm. But that was the thing with Ross and Austin growing up next door to them, was having them nearby. Those were the guys that I was playing these kind of games with. So that, I'm sure we probably reenacted some of those things as kids, like you were saying, out in the yard, lining up and
definitely,
and throwing balls at each other for spells or something like that. With wiffle balls or beach balls or whatever we had. But yeah, that's I think that's where I used to kind of live with that stuff.
It was just imagination away, and a couple of friends away.
Yep, it really was.
I remember in I think it was either 5th or 6th grade. I think it was 6th grade. Was relatively new in the Marysville district, and there was a couple of kids that liked Final Fantasy, and it's funny because we would at recess. At Kellogg Marsh, we'd walk around the track, and we would just like talk about Final Fantasy. And I remember when Final Fantasy VIII was coming out, like both of us were huge skeptics on it because, it's a love story. It's going to be a love story. That age, like girls are gross.
Right.
So, we just thought, they're going to blow it. They're totally going to blow it. And, they're going to, this is, if this is the way this series is going to go, then I don't know that this is something that we're going to continue to, to be really interested in. And, Final Fantasy is about spells and beating monsters and bad guys. It's not about a love story. Ugh, gross.
Yeah, they can't fit that in.
No. I remember we used to walk around the track and just gripe about it, and then we play. I was like, that's actually a pretty good game. It's a lot of fun.
Don't let them know I actually kind of enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, I think we probably both came to the same, just like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. No, and that's kind of the thing about Final Fantasy is no matter what you hear about a Final Fantasy, you're gonna try it. This is a really bad one, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's a critic, so. But it's like, I'm going to play it. I'm going to try and see the best in it because I wear rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, of course. And, well, that's the other thing. Sometimes you come back and realize some are better than they used to be, and some are, not as fun as they used to be.
Yeah. Some don't age as well as others.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, do you got any more good quirky stories that you can think of off the top of your head? We might have to. I might have to put some on paper.
I'm sure I do.
And get Ross.
I think it might be one that I need to. Oh, I'm sure Ross has got plenty about me that I'm just not remembering, or vice versa. But like I said, he was my the childhood Final Fantasy nerd friend. Him and Austin there. So. I'm sure we could dig up stories together, but off the top of my head, no. besides yelling at my sister, Allie, if you're listening to this, I am sorry. I've told you that. I've apologized. So I feel like I'm okay with this now.
Oh.
No more guilt.
Well, you know what? You've come to the church of podcast and you've confessed your sins. So I think that you're probably pretty good to go.
Whew, that was a close one.
That was a close one. And the nice thing is
got that off my chest.
There's always plenty of holy water in any Final Fantasy game. So, all right, there you go.
Got him.
Yep. Oh man. All right. Well, I think that concludes this. I don't even know what you would call it aside from off the cuff. Just kind of
reminiscing about how we grew up with Final Fantasy.
Perfect.
Or growing up with Final Fantasy. Something like that. We'll figure that out.
Well, we're still growing up. I'm still growing up, man.
Exactly.
I got
kids these days.
I know kids these days. Oh man, that's another thing. If you're a kid, and I mean, can you imagine how sweet it would be just to be a kid these days and have never played a Final Fantasy, and you have all of them ahead? You have all of them ahead of you. You can play all of them.
But that's how. See. Oh man.
Anyway, all right.
They got so much to
look forward to. All right. Well, hey, this has been fun. If you are interested in following us on Twitter, our handle is @CanaryPodcast. All one
Canary
word.
Podcast.
Yep. CanaryPodcast for my people who love to spell. You can always hit us up on there. Since we found out that people actually communicate with us on there, we check it more often now. So
sorry about that for being in the dark, but yes, we will now be active on the socials.
Literally had no idea that people actually listen to this. So just thought it was probably a bunch of robots.
We thought it was just us.
Yeah. Hey, my mom listened to this 1,400 times. What a cool woman.
I mean, hey, some moms are very loving, so they might hit that replay a bunch. You never know.
God bless them. So, all right. Well, it's been real.
Hey, it's been fun, buddy.
It's been real fun. We'll talk soon. And for everybody out there, hope you have a great rest of the evening, day, afternoon, whatever.